Aloha, everyone. Hope this is working out pretty well here. This is our first time over on YouTube Live. The settings seem to be pretty good. And look at me. I'm back home in Houston and having an amazing time. And, just thank you all for jumping over to YouTube with us. Really just an easier way for us to handle this, to do these, and to also get them on all the other channels that we're on, whether it's podcast or everything else that we do. Just YouTube makes it a lot easier. So we will also repost this on the different social medias. So, hey, however you connect up is absolutely perfect. And look, here's the thing. I posted the title of this, and this might be a kind of direct, video for all of you. I'm titling this one Dealing with Negativity. And I like to utilize things that happen in the moment in order for all of us to learn together, for everybody. I remember one time I wrote a blog post. There was a student that showed up at a training and didn't like the way one of my team members were trying to just direct them, and actually put his hand on her and shoved her away. And I wrote a whole post about it. I wrote a whole blog post about it. And it inspired me. Like we all have to deal with negativity. So I was teaching in Toronto, and I had an incredible group. I mean, overall, the group was absolutely amazing. The assistants were incredible. The outpouring of gratitude and thankfulness. And I taught my very first trainings up in Toronto. Like the very first time I went solo, I was in Toronto. And so huge amount of love for Toronto, big time. And there was someone in there that was dealing with their baggage. There was someone in Toronto that was dealing with their negative emotions, their baggage. And we had a situation that came up. And I have a team member, his name's Edon. And how Edon handled it was so incredible, and was a powerful lesson, not just for me, not just for him, not just for the team. It was a powerful lesson for the students that were there at the training as well. Edon is 23 years old. He just recently graduated from college. He did his master practitioner with my daughter, did it with Skylar, and just an incredible young man. When he was either 18 or 19, he did his first training with me, and he said, "I'm going to work for you one day." I'm like, I hear that a lot. And it was cute. I'm like, okay, Don, go to school, go to college, find out what you want to do. Well, he did. He went to school, went to college, and said, I want to come work for the company. And we've been training him. He's been with us for a year now. We've been training him, giving him the opportunity to learn, to grow, to evolve. Something happened in Toronto, and words can light people up. Labels can create such a diversity within a group, within friends, within a group of anyone, individuals. It can create such a divide so easily. We get caught up on words a lot in Western culture. I'm going to tell you, I grew up in Hawaii. I grew up in a culture where you didn't look at the word as much as you looked at the intent. You looked at what was the energy behind the word that was said. You look at the intention behind it and judge that more than you judge the very word. Because look, here's the deal. There's a dozen words I can think of right now in my mind where in one area of the US that word is preferred and in another area it's not. And in the UK or Europe, it's totally okay, and another word is not. And just, there's no way that I can say one word is good, bad, happy, or sad without getting into the labels themselves. We had 3 teachers that were in Toronto, and all 3 of us lit up a student's baggage. That can happen. Hey man, if you come to one of our trainings and your shit gets lit up, that's a part of personal growth and development. In fact, I wrote my 3rd book on the shadow, which is if something lights you up, if a negative emotion occurs because of something you see outside of you, a label, a view on something, an individual, then you're meant to do something about that. Otherwise, you wouldn't get lit up. You wouldn't see it. You wouldn't hear it. It would not bother you at all. You'd just be like, whatever. Things happen. Let's move on. The student stuff got lit up. And my deepest hope is that when that happens, that the person is able to push through and stick around for the training, because that means they really need it. I mean, that means it doesn't matter about our training or our techniques or our tools. When your stuff gets lit up, it's time for you to work on something. When your baggage comes up, that means that it's an opportunity for you to deal with your stuff. It's a moment for celebration. You should sit there and go, yes, thank you. It's time for us to deal with something at a deeper level. That didn't happen in this situation. I have so much respect for Edon. Such an incredible young man. This woman in front of about 60% of the audience, this woman in front of 60% of the people that were attending the training, he got yelled at. He got yelled at and called a bully while he just stood there in a congruent stance, holding a space, holding a ground, and just apologizing and saying, that wasn't my intention, please forgive me. Instead, he got yelled at. The student ended up leaving the training. I had a discussion with her and mutually decided that she would leave the training. Didn't get to enter into a conversation with her about what happened or what occurred. I got to enter in a conversation with the rest of the group, though. I got to enter into a conversation with the entire group and shared with them an experience that I had with Christina, my woman sitting right over here. Amazing. And there have been moments where the two of us have not shown up at our best, me included. The two of us, you spend 24/7 with someone, you're going to bump heads at some point. And we bump heads one time, and there have been times where it's see, everyone says, well, that was your fault, or that was her fault, or that was that person's fault. Everyone's about fault and blame. Not everyone. That's a universal quantifier. A lot of people, they look to assign fault and blame. They do. Like, well, I got all grumpy last night because, and then point a finger. But here's the thing, though, and here's something that I learned with her, and actually I've shared this with multiple clients, got to share it with the group, and I want to share it with you now. Here's the deal. If your partner, if your friend, if your team member, if someone that you care about, if their stuff gets lit up and they are in their baggage and you can't hold your space, you got stuff to deal with too. Let me say that again. If your stuff gets lit up, if you get grumpy, even though the other person, in your opinion, is responsible for lighting your baggage up, if you didn't have anything to work on, you would just be able to hold space for them. I remember my son Ethan, he's 23 now as well, working for the company, part of the marketing team. I remember when he was 5 years old, he threw a tantrum. And I just sat there holding space for him, like, it's okay, buddy, let it out. You're going to be fine. Everything's going to be good. Nothing. I didn't snap back. I didn't yell. See, if you snap back, if you yell, if you have anything that comes up, even if it's only 5% of the fight, 10% of the fight, whatever it is, you still have a responsibility to work on yourself. It takes courage. It takes courage to get into an argument with someone or a debate and to be able to say, this is on me as well. This is on me. I don't hear that with every single student. I don't hear that with every single person that I get to encounter. What I usually hear is, it's that person's fault over there. I heard that in Toronto from the woman. Doesn't matter who it was, doesn't matter. What she shared with me is all the things that Edon did wrong. And I did my best to say to her, and there wasn't a space. I said, you were the one raising your voice. He wasn't. What does that say? And all she could say is, he could have approached me better. And in that moment, I sat there and thought, okay, maybe Edon did light her stuff up. Maybe he could have handled it better. Maybe he could have approached it better. And yet, if you have anything that comes up, you got to look at yourself in the mirror as well. There have been times where I have not been able to hold the space for Christina, for Skylar, for Ethan, and my stuff has come up. And in those moments, I do my best to apologize first. In those moments, I actually go up there and apologize. I remember one time with Ethan in Italy, he called me a name, and it was meant to be in fun, and it didn't come out that way. And the next morning, I went to go talk to him, and the first thing that I said was, please forgive me. And he said, what do you mean forgive you? I'm the one that said the word. I'm like, yeah. And buddy, I also snapped. I also had my baggage come up. He's like, yeah, but I lit it up. I said, yeah, and if I was in a good space, I wouldn't have had any reaction. I would have just been like, dude, that doesn't work. You got to help me out. Ethan, that doesn't work for me. You gotta have a different approach. Instead, I apologize. It takes courage to do that. It takes courage to look in the mirror and say, if my stuff came up, I have something to deal with. If not, you would just hold space perfectly and be like, it's okay, I'm here for you, let it out. And when we're done, you and I can talk. I didn't though, I said to Ethan. I didn't. I said my shit got lit up. So therefore I have a responsibility to apologize. I do my best to lead by example. I want you to begin to think about, in any given situation, if you had an abreaction, if you had a reaction that was out of proportion to what's happening outside of you, you have a responsibility to look in the mirror and take a look at yourself and go, okay, here's how I got to deal with myself. Because when you're in a space where there's no baggage, where there's nothing for you to work on, then you can hold space for other people and give them the opportunity to let their stuff out, be free of it, and that's an empowering place to be. We all strive to get there, and to get there, you have to be willing to take a look at yourself. Okay? Hope this helps. First YouTube Live, which means that, well, I'll be going YouTube Live next week as well. I think we're going to be in Hawaii next week. Yeah, we'll be in Hawaii. Oh, wow. Get to talk to you from the deep south. Yeah. All right. Aloha, everyone. See you next time. Bye-bye.